We're gonna do a little video about my apartment that I had while in this little journey. See those apartments right there? You see where that red truck's in the driveway? The door right next to the red truck. Try to get in the background right there. So yeah, that used to be like an apartment of mine, and it was during March 2018 to I think around like May 2019. When all that stuff started happening in like mid 2016 to like mid 2017, the stuff with all my family and all that stuff went south. At around mid 2017, I was like actually like officially like homeless, living out of my car. But then I had also picked up a job at a restaurant. So I got that job around mid 2017. I had to sleep in my car and everything, and then around March 2018, I got this apartment over here, 1 bedroom. It was cheap. It was you know, I was able to afford it, but I lost my job and then I had to quickly pick up a job and then I lost my job and during the time of working at, I was also trying to get into like real estate, back into my real estate license. That didn't work out. Once I lost my job I couldn't afford to go to like the training and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, at that time, I really honestly thought like it was going to be it. Like I mean, there was really no reason to think that it was it or that it was going to be like over with. I wanted it to be it, and I thought I didn't think that there was going to be like any long-term pre-planned. We're like 8 years later from that, and it's still going on. Who does that? Who does that? You know, so I didn't see that coming at all. So a couple things that happened there. Someone had a key to the apartment, and I thought maybe it was like Sabrina or somebody that Sabrina knew. I thought maybe like maybe their family or a family friend owned these apartments or something like that. I had no, I to this day I don't know what happened there. How I knew is one time I went off to work and the back door was left kind of partially open. It wasn't. It was like it just wasn't closed all the way. You know, right at the door jam. It wasn't me. It was somebody else. And then my sister came by to visit me a few days later, and she goes, "Hey, have you been having any problems here? Anybody bothering you?" And then she looked to the side where the back door was, and I go, no, nothing at all. But I noticed that she did that, and because at that time everything was already set up. If I could ever get to the pictures. Somebody wrote in my carpet like a drawing, and it was like a sad face with tears. I came back once. I had some wine bottles up on the top shelf in the closet, and one was knocked down even all the way to the floor. So it's all brick walls. You couldn't rattle. If the neighbor slammed the door, it wouldn't have done that because it's like a duplex, you know. So if the neighbor would have slammed the door, nothing would have happened. It's a solid brick house. Oh, there was blood on my pillowcase. Now it didn't come from me. It didn't. It was like blood had like splattered on it. And so I went to go move my pillow or flip it or do something, and I flipped it over on the other side, and blood was like splattered all over that pillowcase. And I don't know. It wasn't me. I was thinking, did I have like an earache, or did I have a bloody nose or something like that? Nothing like that would have caused that, and I would have noticed, you know, the morning of or the next morning or something like that, when looking at myself in the mirror or something, or taking a shower or looking at the thing, and it was flipped on the other side, so I wouldn't notice it first. One time I went to because I knew somebody had a key to my apartment. And this was before I realized we were like as telepathic as we were. I didn't realize it in the beginning. I didn't know. And even people were at jobs was like saying hints like, we're not telepathic, you know. And it was like reverse psychology. So I did kind of like, I had no like security, and I wanted to catch somebody walking into my apartment. So I put like baby powder on the bottom on the floor right by the door, and I took a glass of water, and I set it right there. So, you know, of course it would make a big mess. I do that before I go to work, and I go to work, and one of my coworkers, it's back there in the back kitchen with me, is all like, "Hey man, that's the old-fashioned way." And I kind of like, people say things, it's like, what are you talking about? But you already know that at this time if you were to go like, what are you talking about, then make up some random story, and you already knew that what they were talking about, but you couldn't figure out how this was happening. I might have taken a picture of it or something. I also thought my phone was hacked, and I don't know if I think it still is. Yeah, I remember I had a lot of fits in that house. What led up to me losing my job, I think I got sent home for something. I can't remember. I had a day off, or I got sent home for something. Anyways, I come back home and I'm mad, and I'm actually, I had these 2 bottles of wine that I bought for Sabrina and me that has this long story tied to it. I thought was when she was going to show up at Christmas 2016, and she never did. And so that night I thought, well, screw it. I was so pissed off, and I said, screw it, I'm going to start drinking these bottles of wine. I'm going to start drinking these bottles of wine, and I threw everything in the house. I was mad. I pushed everything over and threw everything in the house. Made a big mess everywhere. Ended up calling in to work like the next day just so I could clean it up. That wasn't what got me to lose my job. It was an argument between me and another coworker, but it was because, and that's written in my story about how all these people caused me to lose all these jobs, that they would use this thing to harass me at these jobs. And anytime I stood up to defend myself, it was always so there would be triggers, and it would always you could only hang on to it for so long, and then you finally get frustrated, and you just do something, you say something, and you get a couple chances on things, and then I lost all jobs that way, and all of them, if all of this went to court, all of them could get wrongful termination, because they were harassing me with my own life. I would stand up to defend myself, and it would cause me to get fired. And so if I took this thing to court and I took all these jobs along with it, and we got all that proof and stuff, I would think that would be a bunch of wrongful termination cases. But another thing that happened there is I saw Sarah's mom. I go to pull out of my driveway there. I get down the road, and I forgot something, and need to come back or something like that. I can't remember what it was. So I come back and pull back into the driveway. I see Sabrina's mom. I'm right behind her. She pulls in. She circles around and sees me, and I see her, and she says something out of the car door, but the window was rolled up, so I couldn't hear what she said, but it sounded like she said something like "stay" or something. It was a black car, and I ended up finding out like where she lives at, and it's the same black car. I have that in another video. But that's why I kind of thought that maybe this had something to do with Sabrina's mom or something, Sabrina and their family or something, for having a key. A horrible thing, totally a horrible, wrong thing. In fact, because I couldn't pay rent, I was getting back on I was getting behind on rent. They allowed me to catch up, and then they had said something to me like, "You're all caught up." And then when it came towards the end, they slammed me with the fact that I didn't get all caught up. What they wanted to do was give me a positive, make me think that there's going to be hope, and then slam me with nothing. And then so that got sent to collections, and heck, that's been so long. It could fall off of collections now. But I was always going to bring them into it. Somebody had a key to my apartment, and I don't know who. I don't know how. I don't know how that became to be. But that was my only chance of living in a home while dealing with this situation. And once I left that apartment, I was never able to get back into an apartment. I'm sure basically along this journey, you could say that it's my fault, but I would have ended up losing the apartment anyways, because she would have made me lose job after job after job. Anytime I would have tried to grow, I would have always been chopped down. I'm showing you, I'm telling you the story of the 10-year case that it became. And so they would have never given me a chance. They don't even give me a chance today. But I think that's about it. Oh, no. When I left that apartment, I left all of my stuff in there, because I thought it was going to be over. I thought there's no way that this is actually going to go down this way. And I left my stuff in the apartment to call a bluff. Tons of stuff. I didn't really have much furniture at that time, like really none. But like a $1,500 personally built computer, all kinds of tools, all kinds of camera gear. I had cameras in there, camera gear, all kinds of my own personal stuff in the house, in that apartment. And when I left it all in there and loaded up my car. Left with all my stuff still in there, just enough in the car And I thought maybe this is going to be a couple weeks tops. Like, there's no way that they actually allowed me to leave to lose all of my stuff in that apartment. I've been thinking that this whole time that stuff must be left in somebody's garage or storage or something somewhere. I'm going to be really upset if actually they made me lose all of that stuff, because that's not the only stuff I've had to lose throughout this entire thing. I've lost my car. I want that car back. I don't care where it's at. I don't care what tow company says that they have the authority. I don't even care what police officer says that they have the authority. That car was manipulated to take away from me, so that car is coming right back to me. I don't care what the situation is. Free of charge, back in my possession. So is all of that stuff that came from that apartment, and so is my bag of all of that written paperwork that I had, and all the stuff that's been in the back of my cars for all this time. And in fact, my sister gave me some luggage that was left in the back of one of my cars throughout all of this time. And I was shocked I still had it, but she gave me luggage full of clothes here just recently when I stayed at the group home. And it was all dirty and dusty, and I knew where it came from. I didn't even ask any questions because I knew what they were going to tell me the story was. And then a couple of days before I had left, before I was going to leave, I went to my dad's crying. Actually, like a few days before, when they gave me my 3-day notice, I went to my dad's crying, and I think I even had like a panic attack. I went driving around. I had I couldn't breathe. I started shaking. I had to hurry up and get to somebody that could help me. And I went to my dad's house and I was crying. And I didn't say nothing about that. I didn't tell them that I was given my 3 days notice. But then chimes in. But of course, everyone knows that entire situation. So chimes in. Well, your dad's getting off for his 3 days in here, and his dad's getting ready to get off for his 3 days. Because my dad when my dad runs the irrigation district, he does 21 days on and then 3 days off. That's just the way they do the thing. And then my sister comes by like around that same time, a few days before, and there was a mattress in there. There's a dumpster over there where for all of our trash. I can't remember. She said something suggestive about the dumpster and that mattress. And so I tried to play it off that I wasn't going to be losing the apartment. But of course they all knew and were giving me hints underneath the whole thing. I think that's about all that kind of happened there. Sucks. Pretty horrible.